You know, it's so funny because conservatives are real big about bashing government programs. Oh, and I'm right there with them, man. I mean, the logic is so consistent, you know, and obvious. Welfare, you know, welfare for poor people, you know, creates more poor people because people get dependent and they don't go into the workforce, etc., etc., etc. Unemployment insurance that the government offers, it increases unemployment. You know, public schooling for poor children makes the level of schooling received by poor children worse. Medicaid and Medicare for health care for poor people makes health care for poor people worse. You know, FEMA makes federal emergencies so much more worse. And it's really a simple phenomenon that I've gone over here in the past, but just briefly I'll review it, and that is, you take problem X and you take resources out of the hands of people that are good at dealing with problem X, that is, members of the community most directly affected by the problem, and you put those resources in the hands of wasteful bureaucracy, a blind, unknowing bureaucracy that is ill-equipped to deal with the intricate problems communities face. And you add complacency on the part of the citizenry once the government trumpets about that they'll be solving this problem, and voila, problem X doesn't get fixed. The citizenry is left impotent, and the problem gets worse. The government doesn't solve it. And conservatives, you know, they have this down on the economic side, on all the problems I just listed. I mean, they have it down. They have the logic more or less right. Government doesn't fix anything. They have it down on the economic side. But they somehow expect that same government that has so many miserable failures to somehow construct a program that will be successful in dealing with social and cultural issues. And the war on drugs is the prime example. They will list you the litany of the failed government programs. And they're right for the most part. But somehow they expect the war on drugs to be the first government program in the annals of history that has efficiently and effectively dealt with the problems that it was designed to address, rather than exacerbate them. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why conservatives, who know full well how government bungles everything they put their hand to, expects government to be able to solve something like the drug problem. And they will whine and cry about infringement upon personal economic liberties, and I'm right there with them. And while I abhor organizations like ACLU that pretend that people have super rights, I still wonder is there no room left in conservative circles and in discussions where people say they stand for liberty for a principled civil libertarian to find acceptance? How in the world do conservatives like Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, and all the other big names in conservative circles, and the politicians on the conservative side, chief amongst them, expect a program like the government's war on drugs to be the first government program to achieve its stated goal? It won't be, and it can't be, because just like we know on the economic side, government can never effectively deal with intricate problems faced by human beings. Neither can they deal with those problems when they are social and cultural. And people always say, well, John, in that case, you just have to let everybody go. Why have laws against murder? That's why it's so important that people realize that we are totally free until we commit an act of coercion in the form of aggression or deception towards another individual. That's why it's so important to realize where the line is of when government can step in. Possession of a substance is the poorest excuse I have ever seen for violating somebody's right to be free from intrusion by the government or their right to privacy. It's the poorest excuse I've ever seen. The possession of a substance, and we pretend. These people will tell you, if we don't have this, we've got to do this to keep problem X from exploding. They pretend like the program X is solving problem X, and it never does. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous, hypocritical, double standard that I will never understand for the life of me. Why conservatives think that the war on drugs will be the first successful government program is beyond me. And it will never happen as much as they hope and pretend that it will. It'll never happen.